So today I'm going to put together this kit from iCraft called the Photo Folio Scrapbook. You know, if you've seen my previous projects, that lately I've been focusing on the iCraft products because they have quite a few different types of albums and other things that they have done as a DIY, as they call it, project. I kind of like their kits. The only thing I don't like about their kits, at least in the last one, was that they didn't come with any instructions, so you had to try to figure it out on your own. However, with this kit, I have found that they do have instructions. They've included it with the kit, and they also have, and it shows you on the back of the box, they do have, or was it the back of the box? Where did I find it? No. In the inside of the box, the instruction sheet shows you on the back of the instruction sheet that they have a YouTube channel called iCraft Design. So I went to this channel and I did find a 10-minute video showing you how to assemble this little album, this Photo Folio Scrapbook album. Now, it's not very big, it's kind of on the small side, but it's kind of fun to do. And one thing in the kit is they come with two versions of it, one in black cardstock and one in craft cardstock. So today we're going to assemble this, and then in the next video I'll show you how I actually go about decorating it. And I noticed that my autofocus is on here, so just bear with me for a minute because I'm going to turn that off because that's going to give us some grief. Okay, so let's get started. Now, I have to admit I cheated. I watched the video first, and I do recommend that you do that. The instruction sheet is fairly clear. It's all done with photos of how to put things together, but I did find the video helpful as well. So, to start with, you have all these various pieces. So let's lay them out, and they have a diagram, a picture here of the 9 pieces that are contained in the kit. So I'm just going to organize these. These two go together. They're a long pocket. Then there's a larger pocket. And then there is a couple of flaps. Those are the flaps. And I'm referring to the diagram right here. And then there's a couple of other pockets, and these are the backs on the pockets. I found this a little confusing at first until I watched the video and saw exactly what they were doing. And then they have this extra piece which they call a tag, and again the video was very helpful here as to what to do with this. So we're going to assemble this, and the first step says to fold the score lines towards the center of the base. So I'm just going to push these off camera for a second, and it is pre-scored, so really quite easy to just fold, and using your bone folder, just give them a good crease. So this is the base piece, what they call the base piece. Okay, I've got that done. Now it says attach flap 2 and 3 on the base. Bring this in. Attach flap 2 and 3 on the base as shown. So flap 2 and 3 are these bigger pieces, I believe. Again, I'm looking at the diagram. So this is flap 2, and this is flap 3. So again, they're pre-scored, so you've got to fold them on the score lines. Give them a good crease. And in the video, for attaching things, she used tacky glue, Elaine's tacky glue. And to be honest, she's a bit of a messy gluer. And if I can avoid glue, I do. So on this inside flap, okay, you can see here the double fold sort of a thing. Same on this one. Then I'm going to place my double-sided score tape on this, and I'm using 1/4 inch. You can use glue if you wish. Make sure your glue is the type that dries clear, because if it doesn't, it's going to look very messy when you're done, and that's another reason why I'm using the score tape. But the one advantage of using the glue, and I've said this before, is that it gives you some wiggle room, whereas score tape does not. Now let's get out my little pokey tool here for taking off the tape. And let's take a look at the diagram and see which one goes where. So, according to the diagram, you have the larger flap here, the smaller flap up here, and it looks like they go on either side, and it looks like the big one goes on the right hand side and the little one goes on the other side. I don't think it really matters. So we line it up between the score lines at the bottom. And I like to give it a good varnish. And let's take the tape off this one. And do the same on the other side. It is a little difficult to see the markings on here for lining this up because it's black. I think the craft would be easier, but that's okay. It's not that bad. Okay, so there we go. We have our flaps. Okay, so now in step 3, we have to assemble, it says attach pocket 7A onto pocket 7B. So that's these two pieces, and they're both scored. So I'm thinking here, would it be better to score, I have a feeling that should go, the score line on this one should go at the bottom. So we'll crease that. And this one has a score line on the bottom and on each side. I think, now these are pretty narrow, so I think my tape though will be narrow enough. I think I have 1/8 of an inch, which, let's just see, compare here. Nah, I think these will be fine. Alright, so it says to put these together. I'm assuming this piece would go somewhere on here. Let's see. Yeah, it shows this going on the inside down here some. Nope, can't be on here. That's weird. That's what it kind of shows. Nope, those are the flaps. So, well, it goes this way. All right, and then this goes on top. So I think I'll open this back up first and attach this to this piece because that's what it was saying to do in the instructions. So now this score tape, just the 1/4 inch, just makes it. Oops. Get out my scissors. Okay, varnish that. This is a little fiddly. I'm going to see if I can find some 1/8 of an inch score tape. Yep. I think this might be better. So this is 1/8 of an inch that I'm using on here. I'm going to use this on the side flaps. Let's get these smoothed down a little bit better. Now, a little bit about using double-sided tapes. Don't cheap out, okay? You can buy double-sided tape at dollar stores, but I have tried them, and yes, they are a lot less money than buying original score tape or that kind of thing, or the red tape, but I have found they do not stick for long. And you're doing something like this, you want this to hold. You don't want it falling apart. Now, I only took the protective tape off one side of this because I think this might make it easier for lining it up. And I'm just going to line the bottom edge of this pocket up with the score line on the base piece. This is where it gets tricky. This is where glue would probably, oops, yep, see, I blew it. I think this is where glue might be a little bit easier because it would be more forgiving. Okay. Now we'll do this flap Sorry if I went out of shot there for a minute. Now these should be a little easier because as long as you've got that bottom piece straight, shouldn't have any problem getting these lined up. There goes my email. I forgot to turn off the sound on my computer. And fold that one in and over. Okay, got a little pocket here. Now, according to the instructions, I am not supposed to attach this yet. I'm supposed to go on to step 5, which are these two pockets. So these two little guys right here, and basically you're doing the same thing. So let's take the basis on both of these and just fold them at the score line. And then there's 3 little flaps here that need to be folded on each of these. Okay, there's pocket 1. Pocket 2. These in the shot, put that up there. And again, I'm going to use the 1/8 of an inch score tape. Just put it on each one of these little flaps. Okay, that's one I went a little overboard, so I'll just take my scissors and clip off that extra piece. And just as another aside, while I'm putting on the last piece of tape on this pocket, the scissors I'm using are the ones by Tim Holtz, the Tonic scissors, and I really like these scissors. I've had them for quite a while. I actually have a couple of pairs of them in various sizes, and the reason I like them is because for something like this, cutting off a little piece of double-sided tape, it doesn't stick because these are Teflon. Okay, let's varnish these down. Let's take the base and do the same thing as I did last time. I'll take the bottom piece off first, and we're going to line it up, pull these out, put this in. It is difficult to see the black on black, but you just have to be patient. And the last side of this pocket. And there we go. Okay, so there's one of these 2 little pockets done. So I'm just going to do the same thing with this one, and then I will return. Okay, so I have my 2 pockets done right here, and we're just setting those aside with the 3rd pocket. And now the instructions say to attach pocket 6 on flap 2. Flap 2 looks like it's this flap. Now we want to get these, no, that may not be the flap at all. It looks like it's this flap. And if the orientation is correct, now that's one thing about these diagrams or these pictures. They've done them from their perspective, not from the perspective of the person doing this. So I got to think about this for a second. Okay. No, it looks like they're sticking it on this flap here, and I think I want this smaller flap to go up. If I look at the diagram on the box, yes, the smaller flap's the one that comes over when this is closed up. So that means this larger pocket is going, no, wait. Okay, I am a little confused. Actually, I think from her perspective, this is the smaller, this is the larger, and she's putting it down here. Yes, this would make more sense. So it's going down on this flap here, but when you open this up, okay, I'm just looking ahead, and this is where I'm getting a little confused. From her perspective, it looks like this is going here. But if that's going there, in my way of thinking, when you close this album up, that pocket's going to be in there like that. Whereas I think I would rather have the pocket, but then it will stick out up this way. But no, if this is the top, if I have the pocket this way, but then there's other things there. Oh, I think that's why she's putting it on the side. Okay, I'm doing some thinking out loud here. All right, let's just look ahead at step 8 then. If you put this pocket, now the longer pocket is going to go on the inside, and so by the looks of things, this is how it goes together. Okay. Yeah. Her hands are in the way in these diagrams, so it's really not showing you very clearly. And I'm trying to think back to what she showed on the YouTube video. But yes, okay. I think this is the way it's going to go. Yeah, I think I've got that. All right. I've already put my tape onto the pocket. So I'm just going to take the tape off the bottom piece first. Flip this around so I can see the bottom. Looks like she left a little bit up from the bottom. Okay. And then the flaps on the side. Hope I haven't confused you as I was doing my thinking out loud, but I am showing you the process of this. I am a little bit geometrically challenged. I will admit to that. Okay. That pocket is on. Now it says attach pocket 7, which is the long one, of the base towards side B. Suddenly we have a side B. We have not had a reference to a side B at all in these instructions. So, following the diagram, positioning it the way she has it, it's supposed to go here. Okay, let's get some tape on it. Now this one's like a hinge, so there's only one spot to put the tape. And she says right along here. Now there's a score line, so I don't want it to cover that score line where the album won't shut, and this just fits. Now I'm a little crooked. Just flip this around. There's a little bit of a problem, but I think I can overcome that. It's just, it could have been a hair shorter, and I think I'm pretty much centered, so I don't think it's me. But I guess the idea of this is you've got a little hinged pocket piece here. Okay. That takes us to these two little pockets that we put together before, and she's showing those, her perspective. Again, this is, and it's now saying attach pocket 4 and 5 on the center of the base 1 base towards side A. Towards side A. Well, if this was side B, then I guess these are going this way. But let me think about this. I suppose, well, they flip up. These are on a hinge as well, so they're going to flip up. And it's the only way you can put them on, so that's got to be the way to do it. A little wider flap, so I'll use a little wider double-sided tape. I'm using the 1/4 inch on each of these. Varnish them down. Okay, let's just, before we stick anything down, see about spacing. So it's going to have to go above that score line and make sure it's in. So, yep, they'll just fit. There's one. And line this one up. And there's 2. Okay. And that's got it. So those go down. That goes in. She did give gusset room here, so when we get to decorating in that, if we put in some 3D embellishments, they should be pretty good. Oops, I think I've got that wrong. I guess these got to go. These have to go in first, and then this goes over this way. And there we have our little portfolio. So it would open up like this, and down here you have this side pocket. It still bothers me that it's on the side, but I guess that's the way it goes. Those 2 flaps. This one flips up, this one flips up. I think I would have rather, okay, could still work with this. See, to me, these should flip up. Oh yeah, forgot this, the little tag part. She showed in, she doesn't mention it here in the instructions, but she did mention it in the video, that just slides in right here. Okay. So that could be like a journaling card or something, or hold a picture. My way of thinking, I think I would rather have these open up this way. So that would mean, let's close this, put those down, that one in, that one in, that one in, that one in. But if you do it that way, okay, you just have to do it this way. So you'd have the smaller one up. But let's take a look at her picture on the cover. Her picture on the cover has this, the smaller flap up here. So I guess that's the way to go. And I guess with these ones, you would just flip them up. I guess it doesn't really matter. Just in my way of thinking, probably I should have maybe put these down here and put that one up there. That probably would have worked. Can I take them off? No, I'm not going to try that. Oh well, I'm glad they gave us two, because the next one, if I make it, I'll do it that way. I guess it doesn't matter that much. But I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Okay, so there we have it. So the next stage of this then is to get some color on this by using some paper from a scrapbook pad that I have to decorate the front of it. So that's what we'll do next time. So now I'm at the stage where I've got my Folio photo album already folded up and all glued in, and then I realized something about this before I decorate it. Since I've already attached the pockets and everything to it, it might make it a little bit difficult to actually decorate it. I mean, I can cut the paper and get it down so far in here and whatnot, but I don't want to do that. That's really fiddly. So luckily, I have a second one right here. Now these, I have not scored the lines or put them in yet, but my idea here is I'm going to take a piece of Tim Holtz paper and I'm going to cut out the pieces that I need to stick on each of these before I start adhering the flaps and things like that. Now, I've already put this into my Cricut Maker. I designed all of the inserts according to the sizes, and on the back of the package you can see they list the dimensions of all the sizes that are here as well, or of each of the pieces. So you could do this with using your paper cutter, but I decided to design it in my Cricut Maker, and I'm going to cut it all out in one fell swoop. Now for this I'm going to need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock, and I've got my first one already mounted on my Cricut mat, and I'm going to take it over to my Cricut. I'm going to cut them out, and once I have all the pieces cut out, I'll come back. Okay, so I've cut out all my background pieces here, and what I need to do is a couple of things. You'll notice that some of the corners on some of these pieces do have rounded edges, so I've got out my quarter rounder for this. I have cut each of these pieces down so that I'll have about 1/8 of an inch of a border all the way around each one, and in order to make them each stand out, I am going to apply some ink to the edges. So I'm going to start with the first one to give you an idea of what I'm going to do here. I'm not going to film the entire process because I think it's going to get a little bit redundant. And I'm using StazOn ink, maybe. My ink pad, I think, might be a little dried up. Oh, actually, the first thing I should do is round my corners, because this piece has rounded corners. Okay, and let's just see if I've got enough ink. No, I think this pad's a little dried up, so I'm going to grab another one. And actually, yes, I am going to use StazOn because these are going to be handled, and if I use the Distress inks, there's a possibility the moisture from somebody's hand could come off onto the ink and smear it, because it is reactivated with water or moisture, but with StazOn it is not, because it is a solvent ink. And you have seen me do this in other videos before. If you're a scrapbooker, you know about this technique. This is almost a must-do for almost any project that you do in scrapbooking, card making, or in mixed media preparation. So now I'm going to adhere this, and then I will crease the score lines. So I could use glue, but I'm going to go to my 1/4 inch double-sided tape, which is the one I use is score tape, which is mine that I prefer. You can use whichever one you like, but you do want to make sure whatever you use, whatever kind of adhesive you use, whether it's glue, whether it's glue dots, whether it is double-sided tape, that it is a good quality one that has a good adhesion property, because otherwise you will find that this will fall apart very quickly. I'm going to grab my bone folder, and I'm just going to varnish my tape down to make sure I'm getting good adhesion between the double-sided tape and the paper, the cardstock. And then I'm going to use my trusty little paper piercer here to get the backings off. Now, of course, I've said this before, you have wiggle room with glue. You do not have wiggle room much with double-sided tape, so we want to make sure we stick it on right the first time. Just going to bend these back a little bit so this will sit fairly flat. And here we go. And I'm going to line it up at the top first, and I'm just eyeballing it. Approximately 1/8 of an inch on all sides. And there we go. If it goes off a little crooked, remember this is background. When you finish embellishing it, no one's going to see it. Now I've got the problem though, this is a pretty stiff piece of paper, but I have the score lines and they're on the back now. And I probably should have cut a piece for the back. I didn't think of that at the time. Okay, we're going to go back and do that. We'll do that off camera. I won't bother with it right now. So I'm just folding it along each score line, and I'm just gently bending it to get it to conform to that, because now I'm basically folding 2 pieces of heavy cardstock. And I'm using my bone folder to give it a really good crease. Of course, when this is finished and the more use it gets, the more these creases will bend very readily, but at first it's going to be very, very stiff. And I do need to cut, as I said, another one of these big pieces. I forgot in my planning to do that I have 2 sides to this particular piece. Not going to be a problem, I don't think, on the other ones. But so here we go. Got everything creased in there. Now, actually that's probably a very fortunate thing that just happened, that I have to cut another one of these for the other side, because if I had put both of these on either side to start with, I'm bending 3 pieces of very sturdy cardstock, and that might give me some grief. At least that's my theory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to cut myself the piece I need for the back of this. And I'll be back. Okay, so I cut out my second piece and I now have it covered on the front and on the back, and I think this is going to be the front of my little wallet. This will be the inside. So I'm just going to set that aside for a second, and I'm going to do similar thing to all the other little pieces here, but I have a few pieces that have a cutout notch like this one, which might give me a little grief. So now I'm going to do something I probably should never do on camera, is I'm going to experiment. So first of all, I'm going to round my corners with my corner rounder, and then I'm going to take my StazOn ink and I'm going to darken the edges as I have on the first piece. And then I'm just going to line this up, and I'm going to have 1/8 of an inch, but you see it's going to cover up that hole. But I can just take it, I could flip it over and just trace that out and take my scissors and cut that off, or I've got this little device here for making a thumb notch. So what I'm going to do is, rightly or wrongly, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put my double-sided tape on all the edges. Varnish it. And take off my sticky backing. Oh, I just realized something I shouldn't have done. I'm going to have sticky backing hanging down. Okay, this may have been a mistake. Okay, how do you remove sticky tape if you put it on an area where you don't want it to stick? Let me get something. This is a well-used art eraser. It's actually meant for removing sticky. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to peel and I don't know if you can see this on camera, but what it's doing is it's rolling it up and it's taking it right off my paper. If you do not have one of these, you can get them at any art supply store, or you can probably get them at a craft store as well. And they're called, I think, they're either a gum remover eraser or just an art eraser, something like that. And it does a really great job of taking off double-sided tape. Okay, so I don't have any along there because it would go across this and cause me grief. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to center it between the score lines, varnish it down. Now there we go, we have it. Now I haven't folded these under yet for sticking it on, but now I've got this on the back. So I'm going to take my little quarter rounder, and you can see I'm going to look at it from the underside so I can sort of center it up. Try and get it in the punch. There it is, so I can see it right there. Now it's not going to be exact, but that's okay. I don't mind the way it looks there. If that bothers you, then go ahead and cut it out. Now I could just cut those little rounded pieces off. That might make it look a little better, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to trim this overhang that's here. If you can see what I'm talking about, the overhang. Oh, I do not like that at all. In fact, okay, I told you this is going to be an experiment. I have kind of botched it. So, how am I going to fix this? Alright, let's think about this. I have something that's round here. Okay, I could do this. I'll put this down here. I'm going to take a pencil. Okay, if I can find a pencil. Alright, I got something here. This will do. It's a micron marker. Yeah. Okay. And put that there. I'm centering it. I am really fudging this, people. Okay. I don't know if that's going to work. I think I'm going to do it freehand. Okay, let's see. Just trying to even it up here. I don't know if I've done this well or not. I'm kind of botching this up. Yep, I've botched it. So, how am I going to fix this? I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I tore this piece off, reapplied tape to it, lined it up, and now to make this a little bit more even, I got out a large circle punch. I think this is a 2-inch circle. I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to put this in here, kind of eyeball it. Ta-da! I saved it. Okay, the hole's a little bigger, but does that really make a difference? Probably not. You'll just be able to see what's in the pocket a little bit more clearly. So I have rescued it. So, lesson learned here is you can always save things. Now, how I'm going to do this on the other pieces that have the little cutout, because I think there's some more here that have cutouts. Yes, these tiny ones. Not sure yet. So, let's figure it out. Let's grab what's going to go on here in the background. That's the piece. Let's round its corners. Let's add a little shadow. Things are getting a little piled up here. Let's move a few of these things out of my way. And let's take some tape. We're putting it on the perimeter. varnish. Peel it off. Oops. I'm a messy crafter, people. Let's stick it on. Okay, now what am I going to do with this? Well, I think we can use the little half circle tab one here on this. Just going to line it up, try to get those little points. I know this is very difficult probably for you to see on the camera. Presto! Looks very much like the other one. Okay, problem solved. So that's what I'm going to do to all these pieces. I'm going to put all their backgrounds on, get the little holes cut out if it's got a thumb notch. Shouldn't have, there's only one other that has a thumb notch in it. The rest are all pretty straightforward, so it shouldn't be any problem. And then I can start putting together on the album. Just another thing I want to make you aware of that I didn't think of a few minutes ago, but did think of this off camera, was that once you have got the score lines folded on some of these pieces, you may want to go around the edges with your ink again to give it a more aged look, especially on the craft cardstock. The black, it wouldn't matter so much because you wouldn't be able to see it, but on this it just grunges it up a little bit, makes it look a little bit more vintage. So all I did was I folded in my little flaps on the score lines and then just took my ink and went around the edges just to age it a little bit. So I've affixed all my background papers onto this one, and I didn't bother to film me sticking all the different pieces into it because you already saw this one and how it was made, and it's the same thing exactly. It's just the only difference is that I put the background papers on first. So I'll just show you what this is looking like now. So because there's a fair amount of cardstock on this on both sides, and there's the front, here's the back, you will find that some of this is going to take some time to work in so it sits very nice and square. And what I'm going to do is put a couple of rubber bands around it and let it sit for a day or two. But here's the inside. The flaps, you can see, are done. Again, I forgot, like I did with the back one of this, that I needed double of these because I needed one on either side. And there's the pop-up and the pocket in here, and the little pockets here. And I kind of stuck that one down somehow. Okay, just see if I can release it. Okay, I did, but I made a bit of a mess back here, but that's okay. I'm going to fix it up. Now, one thing I haven't got, I didn't put things on the back of these. So I probably should cut some more of these and put them on the back of this. And then I'm going to have these inside parts here, these little strips. I want to cover those up, but I think I'll use washi tape on that. Now some of these pieces did not stick with the double-sided tape securely, and that's kind of the nature of the craft cardstock because it has sort of a, I don't know what you would call it, it's a different texture than the black cardstock. So things don't always stick to this as well. So I did use a little bit of Gorilla Glue, but you could use whatever kind of glue you normally use. And I just put it along with the tape on the back of some of these pieces that are interactive, just to hold them in a little bit more securely. So I am going to cut some pieces to put on the backs of all of these so that they don't show up. And that means that the basic construction of this and some basic decorating, get this tag back in here. You do want to be careful when you're using double-sided tape and you've got something that's an insert that it does go in without sticking. Those go down there like that. This, 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 and this. Okay. As I said, it's going to take some time to work this into a shape, but the next segment I'm going to add more embellishments to this, bring it up another level, and think about what kind of clasp or how we're going to put a closure on this. So that'll be in the next series of videos. Okay, so now we're at the point where we're going to finish up our Photo Folio Scrapbook, by adding a few little embellishments. Now, I've already sort of picked out a few embellishments that I want to use, and these come from various sets. Some are from Tim Holtz, some are from other sources. And I've already done something before I started the video, because this I had to figure out. I needed a closure for this booklet, or for this folio. So what I have right here, this is a Tim Holtz little buckle. Now, it doesn't come with anything else but the buckle, so I'm just thinking, well, I'd like a strap or something to go around this. Well, in my stash, I found some measuring tapes, you know, the kind of thing dressmakers use, that kind of thing. A package of 3, they were in different sizes, that I bought for probably $1. And they've been sitting in my stash for a long time, looking for something to do with them. And so I thought this would make a nice enclosure for the belt. So I measured out the length that I needed. This took a little thinking, a little planning. Got it attached to the buckle, and all you do is you just slip this. Yeah, all you do is just, okay, I'm all thumbs this morning. Let's see here. Just put the end through, and I punched a hole in the tape measure, so I had a latch, and then it goes through this little hoop at the top. Now, this is a little bit fiddly, but I think it adds a nice feature to it. Now, you might say, well, shouldn't your strap hang down? Yeah, maybe, but it looks like a belt if you put it this way too. So I couldn't, the only way I could have got this part to hang down here, well, I suppose I could do that, but then it covers the buckle, was to place the buckle this way on this little thing. I simply wrapped it around. I did glue it. I used some of my Gorilla Glue, best glue on the market, and adhered it. So now I've got the little enclosure. Now, I have had this sitting for a few days with rubber bands all around to keep everything so it gets the idea of the way it's supposed to sit. The sides still pop out a little bit on one side. That may, over time, adjust itself. Okay, so I've put this embellishment on. Oh, this was a white. So I just took some of my StazOn ink and just aged it a little bit. So I'm kind of happy with that. So let's open up and look inside and see what we can do. Okay, now last time I told you I thought I might want to cover up these spaces here with maybe some washi tape. So I've pulled out some washi tape, and I picked out some stuff that has numbers on it. And I'm just trying to see if this one's a little thick. Okay, so we're going to go for the narrow. So this one too has numbers on it. I'm just going to see how it sticks to this at first, because I don't know if I'm going to have to add a little bit of glue, because some washi tapes are stickier than other washi tapes. We'll varnish that well. Where's my bone folder? I'll use the bone folder on this. Give it a good varnish, especially on the edges. Okay, that seems to be sticking pretty good. So I think I'm just going to put another piece of this over on this side. And this just sort of covers up those blank areas where the folds are located. Now I could just tear this, or I could use, but I'm using my scissors. I want a little bit neater ends on this. Okay, that makes a bit of a difference. Now, let's see. Should I use the same stuff here? And I think I will. Hope I'm in shot. And a little bit more over here on this fold. I'm not actually putting it on the folds themselves because I think that'll make it curl up. I'm just putting it off a little bit from the edge. And I'm thinking I need something here. Maybe the wider tape would be okay here. Yeah, I think the wider tape would work here okay. So Now I could have aged these tapes, but I like the color as they are, so I'm just going to let them stay. Now this one looks like it's one of those tapes, one of those washi tapes that I said doesn't have much sticky on it. So I'm going to fix that. I'm just going to give it a little bit of dab of my Gorilla Glue. And again, you could use any glue that you like. I'm just in love with Gorilla Glue these days for this kind of stuff because it dries so fast. Okay, I don't want too much of that to squeeze out from underneath because I don't want this to tape down something else. One thing that's nice about, I'm just going to cut off a chunk of this, it's a little awkward with the roll. One thing that's nice about washi tape is it is repositionable. That's both a strength and a disadvantage because since it's repositionable, it doesn't stick that well, and then that's a problem. Now this piece seems to be sticking a little better in this area. Okay, so I've gone around those edges. Any others that I need to do? I don't think so. Everything's good on those sides, but I do know on the back I need to put some here and here. Now I think the skinnier, and I maybe use the darker one. I've got this black roll. It's got numbers on it too. It looks like chalkboard numbers. Just going to straighten that edge. I don't use washi tape that often. I have lots of it because there was the big craze back a few years ago where washi tape sort of came out and everybody was using it. So I've got a collection, but I don't use it that much. So it's good for this kind of thing, though, I find, because it comes in various widths. Okay, that's good. Now, let's put these off to the side and talk about what we're going to do in the interior. Well, we have these two pockets here that don't have anything in them, so I'm going to fix that up. I already pre-selected a couple of little tag pieces, and the idea here is one side has something decorative on it, the other side you could write on, or put a picture on it or something like that. So I'm just going to, and they're the right size, I slip them in there. You could of course make little tags yourself, punch them out, die cut them, or just freehand cut them, whatever you like. But I had these and I thought these would be sort of nice. Make sure it shuts. This one doesn't want to go down. I think I'm just going to take a hair off the edge of this. All the embellishments that I'm going to be sticking on here, I have already gone around with some of the StazOn brown ink. Yep, that's going to work fine there. And then I got thinking, I've got another big tag here. This one already has its tag in the inside, but I've got this big pocket here, and I found this tag. And I'm just picking things that look old for this. So it fits in there quite nicely, just as is. And then I was thinking of dressing up these two flaps that are on either side, but also make them functional. So I've got, this is one of Tim Holtz's, I don't know what they call them, found relatives or something. I think this was from the Photo Stack or something it's called. So I was thinking that I could put that right here. Now you might not want to put in pictures of people you don't know, but I don't really care. And I thought I'd stick these on top, but I'm going to only glue it on two sides so it becomes a little tuck-in pocket. So I've already gone around these, as I've said, with the stays on ink. So I want to get these people stuck to the side of this. So I'll just pull this off here for a second. A little bit of Gorilla Glue. And then I'm going to just put a little Gorilla Glue along the edge of this guy. I'm not in shot. Show you this here. We go. And a little along the bottom. I've got a little bit of the Gorilla Glue coming off to the edge here, so I'm just take that off with my finger. And I thought I'd do the same thing over on this little flap with these girls, but I'm just going to adhere them at the bottom, just on their feet, so they act like a little clip kind of thing, so you can tuck something else underneath it. Okay, so I've got these stamps here, and I thought they might look good. Maybe one off to the side there. Now what I'm doing, I'm just adding another layer of embellishment to this. Oops, there we go. Maybe this one. I just picked up pieces of ephemera that looked old to fit the background paper that I used on this. And this little stamp. Maybe that would look good on the tag. Again, if you give this to somebody, it'll be up to them what they stick in it. You may not want to embellish it quite as much if you figure they're going to put pictures or journaling in it, that kind of thing. Okay, so I've got these stuck down here. Make sure my glue is not running over. Now I need something to stick underneath them so people will realize that this is for sticking things under. So let me see what I can find. I've got my little box of ephemera here, and let's just see if I can find some kind of neat little card thing. This package from Tim Holtz looks like it has potential. I love Tim Holtz's ephemera pieces because of course he does everything in the vintage style, and I love the vintage style. Okay, oops, things are dropping out. Ooh, okay, I guess that was already open. So let me pick up a few things here. Okay. Yeah, it's already open. So what have I dropped out of here? So here's a little card piece. Give it a little inking just around the edges to get rid of the white edges out of that. Will that tuck under there? Yeah, it's a little tall. Well, let's shave off a little bit. Don't be afraid to cut these pre-made embellishments because they're yours. You can do with them what you like. I think I need to take a little bit more off. There, that fits in there quite nicely. Okay, and I need one for under here. There's this, looks like fun. That would work. Need to re-ink here. I like making these things because this is the part I like the best, is adding embellishments. Sometimes I don't know when to stop, however. But you see, you can make little things that act like clips. They don't all have to be pockets. So there we go. I think I'm done. So, just show you this. Let me move a few things out of the way here. so you can get a better look at this. Okay, why are these things so difficult to pick up? Okay, so here we go. So let's take it from the beginning. Oops. Fold it up correctly. And I won't secure that, but you know, so there we go. There's the, oh, got a little problem. Okay, just me. Okay, so it'll fold up like this. The little buckle will go in, that'll insert up there. Okay, so we have that. And of course, on the back, we have the same thing. You could put more things on the back of this. Maybe I should. I could put a couple of those little Tim Holtz dolls on it. Yeah, I think I will. Just give me a second. Here's the little paper dolls. Those girls would look cute there. And maybe these ones. Okay, let's just get rid of the edges. I think there's enough on my inking tool to do that. It doesn't take much. Okay, grab my Gorilla Glue. See, this is the thing. I don't know when to stop. I just keep doing it. So these little girls can go right there. It just sort of breaks up the back a little bit, makes it a little more interesting. I love Tim Holtz's paper dolls. I use them on everything. If you can get your hands on them. I've been stockpiling them for a while. Okay, that should be good enough. Okay, that just breaks up the monotony of the back a little bit. In fact, should I have something more on the front down here? Maybe. Paper dolls. Or should I go for something else? He has the botanical collection. This collection, I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of color on here, but no, that's too big. There's something a little on the smaller side in this set. That gave me a great idea, though. No, I'm not going to do that. I was thinking I could cut that in half, and then when it's closed up, you'd have, you know, you'd see. Or you could layer. I don't know if any of these are going to really work. Of course, I have some of these again. I use them in the inside. That might look okay there. A little big. No, don't think so. Okay, this may not be. No. Okay, that collection doesn't really offer me anything that I want right there. So, let's see. I have more. Okay, this collection goes off to the side. And you thought we were done. No way. Now this has got some tickets in it. Maybe one there. Do I have another one? Our Grand Hotel. Okay, I think I found what I want to put on there. I don't like to think too much about this, because you could spend days looking for the perfect embellishment, and you know, I don't think there is such a thing as the perfect embellishment. Okay, glue. Okay, and then this one. There we go. How's that look? That'll go up between. Yeah, that just adds a little something to it. I am definitely going to stop now. Okay, let's take a look at this. So, when we open it up, now I may have made a mistake there. That's kind of upside down. But no, because you turn this different ways, because these are kind of already upside down. So you have these flaps, you can little thingies that stick underneath them. You've got a tag in a pocket. You got two tags in these. Flip it around this way. Those can come out. You could even put something in the back of this if you wanted to. I've got this. I could embellish that. A little flip out tag and in here, and you could have a picture or something in here. So that's the Photo Folio Scrapbook album. Not happy with the way that's sitting in there. There we go. Okay. Those flaps go in, down, that goes across, that goes across. This goes under, this goes in. A little buckle goes in there. This goes under here. And done. Again, I'm still a little concerned about the way that side comes out, but I'm a perfectionist. I think if I just crease it a little bit better. So there we are. That's the iCraft Photo Folio Scrapbook. Hope you enjoyed this video. Next time, I'm going to start another iCraft project.